Hello, this is Benny Good, point man for the RVA area of Trail Life USA. We are hosting a rope making exercise at the Virginia Homeschool Convention this coming weekend, June 8th, 9th, and 10th, 2023. And we have two rope making machines that we got from the home office. And I have rigged them up in a fashion that appears to work, and I want to share that with you today. So this is a view of the table with the crank machine and spinner hooks on the far end of the table, and there are two of them. And on this end of the table closest to us is the travelers, and the travelers are spinners, and they're hooked up to, on those white lines that are coming down, to milk jugs filled with water to provide weight to pull back. And both the spinner hooks machines at the far end of the table are both hooked with two C-clamps to the table. And similarly, there are two C-clamps at this end holding those blocks with the eye hooks that let the traveler lines go down to the milk jugs. So this is a view of the spinner hooks at the far end of the table. And I don't show you how to prepare this machine with the baling twine, but basically you do a 1/2 inch knot at the traveler end of the traveler spinner hook, and then make 3 trips up to the spinner hooks at the machine, looping around each spinner hook one time. So in all you'll have 6 strands, and all of the lines, all the twine goes back to the traveler to be tied to that traveler spinning hook. And you'll see there the paddle, which is going to help keep the twines separated until they're ready to go together to form the rope. So let's see if I have another detail to show you. So this is a detail of the water jugs, and basically they're done sort of snug. They're a little off the ground, but not quite off the ground. But as you make the rope will get shorter, and it'll pull the traveler towards the machine and lift that milk jug off the ground. So the milk jug will keep tension on the line. So when the twine is all loaded on the machine and down to the traveler, you then can crank the machine, and you generally crank it clockwise. So and you start turning it clockwise, and the traveler, the spreader, is actually at the far end of the table. So when you're ready to start making the rope, you have a volunteer or a youth at the machine end, and they're going to crank that machine clockwise and start twisting the twine. And at the far end, you're going to have another volunteer holding on to that paddle. And it generally starts at the far end, at the traveling end of the twine. So in this next portion of the video, I'm going to alternate views between the far end of the table view and what it looks like at the paddle, where I'm standing at the paddle. So as each pair of twine starts to twist and get tighter and tighter, you may have to move the paddle up and down the rope to prevent the end of those twines from connecting to each other. They do connect at the traveler end, as you see, and as the rope begins to form with all 6 strands wound together, you begin to move the paddle closer and closer to the machine until you get basically to the very end. The crank becomes a little harder to turn. The paddle is almost all the way to the rope making machine, and when it gets there or near there, you can remove it